Hi everyone, can you quickly confirm, am I audible properly? I can see people are joining. So welcome Nishant, Ayappa, Praveen, Ramesh, others, Sanjay Verma. Okay, perfect. So I can see people are confirming. Perfect. So guys, let me wait for 2 more minutes and then we will start with our session. So before we start the session, I quickly want to check with all of you that how many of you are completely new to Selenium? Have you used Selenium before? Have you used any other automation tool or library in the past? If yes, then let me know what other things you have used so far. If not, then at least let me know, do you have some idea about any of the programming language like Java, JavaScript, Python, or any other programming language in the past? Even if you've done in a college time C, C++, that's fine because the programming fundamental will remain same, only the syntax will change. Okay, so yes, I can see people are confirming. Thank you so much for confirmation. Okay, so I can see Ramesh says, no, sir, I'm new to Java itself. Sorry, no problem. So Raju, Uday Bhanu, basically we will be starting the Selenium today. So I would recommend that at least go through my Java playlist where we discussed basics of Java, which is required for test automation. Okay, so I have more than 20 videos on Java, which will help you to get started with Selenium. So once you understand any programming language, right, it will be easy for you to grasp the things because from day one we will be starting with objects, right? So until you don't understand what is objects, you might feel it's a little complicated. Basically, you might have to remember the syntax if you don't know the basics, right? But if you understand what exactly the class is object, then you don't have to remember the syntax at least. Okay, so completely new to testing, no problem. Aware of Java, Selenium basics. Okay, so Alicia, this will be like for the next 5 days. We will be covering Selenium basics. So you might feel it's very basic for you, but for others, it will be very helpful. But even if you know the basics, I would recommend stay till the end because you will get something new out of this session. Okay, so big hats off to Monica. Monica says, I'm completely new, but finished your 24 video. So thank you so much, Monica, because now you will see the actual implementation of these Java concepts in Selenium. So if you've gone through the 24 videos, trust me, you will now be able to connect the dots. Ruhi says, I'm new to Java, but no C, C++. Okay, so Ruhi, if you know C, C++, you will be able to relate because we will be writing some if-else statement, we will be writing some loops, we will be creating objects, right? We will call methods, we'll pass the parameters. You will be able to connect. Please provide the Java link. So Ramesh, please go through my YouTube channel or just search for Mukesh Otwani Java. You will get the complete list. Others is asking again, sir, is there any quiz today? So others, no, today we'll have quiz tomorrow or maybe on Wednesday because let us understand what is Selenium, right? Based on that, I will prepare a quiz accordingly. Ram Prashad says not used, learn automation only, but not able to explain in interviews, so getting rejected a lot of time. So Ram Prashad, see, rejection in interview is altogether a different thing because sometimes you get rejected because of your explanation. Sometimes you might get rejected because of your project explanation. Sometimes, one answer can change the complete game in interviews. So if you're not able to explain the things okay, so that will completely change the game. So even if you know everything, right? But let's say you're not able to explain what is Selenium, what is framework component, or the different things that you have used, TestNG, Maven, Jenkins, right? So the one thing that you have to learn is how to be a good storyteller, because nowadays it's all about how you can explain the things. Okay, if you are a good storyteller, if you are good in communication, right, you can sell anything. So in interviews, basically we sell our skills, we sell our portfolio, we sell our, I will say the complete thing. Okay, so we'll talk about the interview questions from Monday to Friday. Next Monday to Friday, we have all interview preparation. So please attend that, because you will understand that where exactly you're lagging right now, what kind of, I will say, the mistakes that you are doing, right? You can work accordingly. Perfect. So let me start. Let me basically start with Selenium. So what exactly is Selenium, and then how we can configure in Eclipse. So just a small disclaimer today that I am using Mac. So in case if you're using Windows, let me know. I can do the same thing in Windows as well. So once your setup pass is done, it doesn't matter whether you're using Windows or Linux, the concept will remain same. Okay. So the first thing that I'm using today is Mac, and I'm using Java 8, and I'm using Eclipse. So you can use any Eclipse version. So let me quickly talk about everything that I'm using. So if I open my terminal, see, in this session, I will not be able to show you the installation part, because for that, I might have to restart my system. So what I did, I already have Java in my system so that I can quickly get started. But in case if you're facing any issue with the Java installation as well, let me know after the session. I will be able to help you out. So in order to verify the Java version, I will simply type Java space hyphen version, and I will get to know the Java version. So if you're not getting Java version, it means Java is not configured properly in your system. In that case, you have to configure your Java, in particular, whether using Linux, Mac, or Windows. Okay. Now, if you ask me how to download Java and install in Mac, it's pretty straightforward. You just need to download JDK 8 or JDK 11. Two versions I will recommend, because other versions have some compatibility issue. So Java 8 and Java 11. So you will go to the Oracle official website, download JDK 8. You will get a DMG file. The moment you have this DMG file, double click on it, it will install. Good thing about Mac is you don't need to set environment variable at the first go. Later on, once you move ahead, you will be changing the bash profile. But at present moment, just double click on the DMG file and the Java will get installed. After that, I'm just checking Java version is correctly proper, whether it's configured or not. So in our case, it's yes. Next thing is you need one editor. Okay. Now, I have seen a lot of people are confused. Should I use Eclipse? Should I use IntelliJ? Should I use VS Code? Should I use any other editor? It's perfectly up to you. Okay. Editor is just integrated development environment, which will basically help you to write the code. So you can write the code in Eclipse, IntelliJ, VS Code. It's totally up to you. But if you ask me what are the top two editors in the market which will help us, I would recommend go with either Eclipse or IntelliJ. Now, how to download Eclipse? It's very straightforward for Eclipse as well. Okay, I can see some congratulations in the chat section. Let me see what exactly it is. So this is very good news. Thank you so much, Kabir, for sharing this with the viewers. So we have a subscriber, I will not say subscriber, a member. Kabir says, by the way, Mukesh, I got selected. I got 37 lakh package. Thanks to you, bro. Thank you so much, Kabir, for sharing. It means a lot that you're sharing it with others on the live session. And special thank you from my side. Please connect with me in case if you have any doubt or you want to discuss anything before joining, or if you have, you need some kind of discussion before joining, please let me know. Thank you so much. Perfect. So if I talk about Eclipse, okay, so just navigate to their official website, eclipse.org, and now you can start with the downloading part. Downloading part is very straightforward here, but I quickly want to highlight this part because here many people are struggling. So when it comes to Eclipse, right, it comes in two variants. So either you can download their installers, okay, which I don't recommend. The second thing is you can download their packages. So if you see on the screen, we have something called download packages. If I click on it, and if I click on the older versions, can you see the list of versions that is available right now for you? So if I start with the Scratch, we have Europa, Galileo, Ganymede, Helilio, Juno. So we have so many versions. So which version to choose? take the latest -1. So if you see the latest is 6. So Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June. So June is already available, June 2022. So I would recommend go with at least March release or December 2021 release. But even if we have the previous versions, right? Let's say Photon, Oxygen, Neon. So any version above Oxygen is fine, at least for automation. So Oxygen, if you have, or Photon or any other version, please don't do this again and again. You will not get anything new, at least from automation perspective. But if you're starting from the scratch, go with the March edition, March 2022 or 12 2021. Let's say if I click on this part. So again, you have R packages, RC1 packages, M3, M2. Don't worry, click on the first package, which is R package. And here you can see we have multiple variants of Eclipse. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't help, it creates more confusion, right? Because now you have, do you want the first one or the second one with for the web developers, third one with C++, fourth one is for Eclipse committers, and so on. So again, no need to worry. Go with the first IDE, which is for basic Java developers, like core Java developers. Here also we have a Mac, Linux, and Windows. Just click on the Mac one. And you can see a DMG file, right? So all the softwares that we use in Mac, it's DMG. So click on the DMG file. Just a second, let me see. Yeah. Perfect. So you can see it started downloading the DMG file. So I will click on pause as of now because I already have and I don't want to install again. But I can quickly show you the moment you got Eclipse, double click on Eclipse, and this is how exactly you will be getting a welcome screen, okay, which will help you to configure your first project. Now, this is known as the welcome window, or you can say welcome workbench, where it will give you a couple of things to configure. So if you want to review the ID settings, you want to create a Hello World application, Java project, you want to check out project from Git, import, export, tons of things. So if you don't want to do anything, just click on this workbench, okay, or just close this welcome window. So this is how the Eclipse will look like, and now you can configure the Eclipse accordingly. So those are completely new to Eclipse. So let me give you a quick walkthrough about the UI of Eclipse. So on the left hand side, you can see we have something called Package Explorer. Here I will be creating projects. You can have one project, multiple projects, it's totally up to you. On the right hand side, you can see I have a task list, I have an outline, and on the bottom side, I can see problems, Java doc declaration. You can customize like anything. Suppose if I don't want task list, I can remove it. If I don't like outline, I will remove it. If I don't like problems, this tab, I can remove it. And I can add anything on the fly. So let's say if I want to check, I want the navigator, okay? So I will click on navigator. And you can see the navigator is here. And let's say if I want, again, the outline, you can see outline is coming here again. So I can close, I can customize anything. If I don't like outline here, I can drag and drop here. And I can see my outline along with the declaration, right? So I can customize accordingly. So this perspective, so this is one perspective, okay, but you can customize this perspective. For example, in this perspective, I will be getting some standard options, okay? But if I want to change, you can see one plus icon here, right? So Java, this Eclipse IDE provides multiple perspective. Let's say you want Git perspective, debug perspective, a planning perspective, XML perspective, you can customize. So let me tell you one example. So let's say I want to, I want Git perspective because I want to clone the repository. I want to check in the code. I want to create the branches. So I went to my Git perspective. And if I click on the open, you can see the complete UI has been changed. Now I'm getting all the options related to Git. So on the left hand side, I'm having Git repository. It's completely blank as of now, obviously, because we don't have many things, right? And if you see here, we have something called synchronized, we have Git staging, we have the Git reflect log, and so on. So basically, I mean to say that for different things, we have different perspective. Okay, now coming back to our Java project, and let's start with our project part. I hope it is clear. Okay, so Ratna says it was nice meeting you, Mukesh, at RTP. Okay, thank you so much, Ratna. So guys, we had a meetup actually on Saturday, and we got almost 160 participants. It was so much fun to interact with a lot of people. It was a good networking event. We discussed a lot of new topics. Plus, we did some chit chat. We did a couple of quizzes. We also had some selfies. So I'm sure you, if you're following us on LinkedIn, the you'll find all these moments that we captured. Okay, and Mahesh have one more question. Mukesh tried to make the interview session. So Mahesh, as I mentioned, from next Monday to Friday, it's all about interview preparation. Okay, so let's get started. But before we start, I want to quickly talk about what exactly is Selenium, because I can see a lot of people have confusion about Selenium, whether it's a library, whether it's a tool, uh, whether it's a set of API. What exactly is Selenium? So before I talk about what is Selenium, I want to quickly listen from all of you. What do you understand by Selenium, or do you have any idea what is Selenium? Please let me know in the chat section. Okay, let me see a couple of answers. In the meanwhile, let me take one question from a chat. Akash says, will you make any playlist for Selenium with Python? So Akash, I have more than 25 videos on Python, more than 15 videos on Selenium with Python. So please go ahead and check out that playlist. Now we have one more channel called Wonder SG. One of my friend done BSc, pass out in 27, and she want to switch to IT and want to take testing. So I will refer for your class. Is it possible to switch into IT field? So yes, Wonder SG, many companies, they don't ask for any degree. Okay, so there are some companies, okay, where they will mention that you should have minimum BTech degree or BA degree, but there are many companies those who are looking for the skill set. They don't worry whether you have done B with C, BSc, BCom. So you need to check out first the list of companies which actually hire the candidate based on their skills. But yes, it is possible. I have many students, many subscribers in the past. They have transformed from non-IT to IT, from different stream to IT. So it's possible. It is just you should be able to clear the interviews. Plus, you should know the skills that is required for automation, right? In order to get the job. So even if you know so many things, but clearing interview is a skill. So yes, you can refer in case you want any kind of discussion. Please let me know. Okay, so let me see some answers. So Uday Banu says it's a library. Okay. Ramesh Babu says open source API. Sahi says it's an interface. It's Chamika said it's a tool. See, tool is not the right word. That's the reason I was asking this question, because if I ask you, is it a tool? Okay, then it will not be the correct answer. Because sometimes, see, your one answer can change the complete perspective in interview, right? Because if you don't know what exactly is Selenium, okay, and if you say it's a tool or something which is not correct, you might create a wrong impression. Selenium WebDriver is an interface. Is it a web automation tool? Okay, it's a tool for automation testing for web application. So I can see many people are rating a tool. See guys, that is the reason I was asking. It's not a tool. Okay, you can say it's a testing suite. Selenium is a testing suite, or I will say the collection of testing suites which will help you to automate your web application. It's not a exe where you will double click, it will install in your system and then you will automate. It's not like any of the softwares that comes into the market. So Selenium basically have three components. Okay, so you have to listen the answer very carefully. If I would have asked what is Selenium WebDriver, then we would have said it's a set of APIs, right? But if I am asking you what is Selenium, it's a testing suite which help you to automate your browsers. Now Selenium initially had four components. Okay, So we had initially Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium IDE, and Selenium Grid. But now from 2014, like few years back, we have only 3 components like Selenium WebDriver, which you can see on the screen left-hand side. Then we have Selenium IDE, and then we have something called Selenium Grid. I will talk about them one by one. So if you just see the first line, but before we jump into WebDriver, let's talk about Selenium IDE. So what is Selenium IDE? It's a play and record and playback tool. Okay. To be more precise, it's a Chrome extension for browser extension, basically, where the moment you click on recording and the recording will start, whatever type click activities you will do, it will record everything. And the moment you click on play, it will play as it is. No need to write a single line of code. It's a record and play. Okay. So it will generate the script also for you. If you want, you can convert, but it will show you in a tabular format that you clicked, like you open this URL, you clicked on this particular element, you type on this and you selected the drop downs menus and so on. That is for Selenium IDE. So if you want to get started, one day or maybe 30 minutes or few hours on Selenium IDE is enough if you want to just have a look about what is IDE. But even if you don't cover it, it's perfectly fine, because in companies we don't use Selenium IDE. We need WebDriver where we can write the code, where we can customize the conditions, where we can play with the browsers. So Selenium WebDriver is a set of APIs. Okay, you will get as a library. Okay, you will get a jar file. This jar file is not an executable jar file again. Okay, so it's not like double click on this jar and it will install. It's a set of packages. You just need to import this jar file in your project, and you can start using all these classes, interfaces, methods that you have. Okay. So I will show you now. We'll talk about WebDriver. We will configure it. We'll see how to invoke the browsers, how to perform activities, and so on. In the third part, if you see on the screen, which is Selenium Grid. Now, if you just notice this image as well, you will find it's kind of there's one dot and it's connected with 2 dots, right? So Selenium Grid will help you to distribute a test across multiple machines, across multiple systems, across multiple nodes. Depends what kind of setup you have. So if you want to run your test in multiple machines, containers, systems, we will be using Grid. So there's a deadly combination with Grid, Selenium WebDriver with Selenium Grid. So if you go to the little advanced section, you can integrate. So here we will be using basically WebDriver driver called new Chrome driver, and here we will be using remote WebDriver. I have a couple of videos on Selenium Grid. If you want, please go through that videos. But if you ask me to read this line, so if you want to scale your test by distributing running on multiple machines, all multiple environments from a central point, Selenium Grid make it easy to run the test against combination of browser and operating system. Okay, so we had Selenium RC, which is Selenium Remote Control, which got deprecated in 2014. So no need to learn about Selenium RC and no need to go through the interview questions of Selenium RC as well. So ID you can ignore, but if you still want to get a look how it works, let me know. I can show you a quick session on Selenium ID as well, but not required for the interviews. Selenium WebDriver, anyways, we are starting today. And if time permits, we will have session on Grid. Otherwise, maybe you can check out my YouTube videos for this. Okay. Now, let me see. Okay, recently we have upgraded our project from Selenium 3 to Selenium 4. And when we try to execute the script in Jenkins, it doesn't trigger. So Mahesh, when you say it doesn't trigger, first let me know what kind of exception you're getting, okay? So Selenium 3, when you migrate from Selenium 3 to 4, right, it has a couple of syntax changes. Some set of APIs has been deprecated. So if you're using that APIs, or I will say, to be more precise, that classes and methods, if they're deprecated, obviously it will throw some exception. Please let me know what exceptions you're getting, because not much changes basically, but few APIs has been deprecated. Okay. So yes, there's few correct answers. That Selenium is an open source framework. Yes. It's not good. At least you did not mention the testing framework, because we have JUnit testing for this. You can say it's an open source framework for web automation. So Lipica says it's an API when we run the script. So basically, it's a set of APIs. Okay. So all the methods that we're using, right, behind the scene, every method is actually making an API call. If you want, I can show you practically. I will show the documentation that the moment you say driver.get, it's nothing but an API call. Okay. Is theory part clear before we configure the Selenium? Is the theory part clear to everyone? The different components, when to use what? Samantha says, can you please show how to install the Selenium, because I'm facing installation issues. So Samantha, just hold on, just give me 5 more minutes. I will switch back to Eclipse and I will show you how to configure it. So Deepak has a correct definition. It's a Selenium is a free automation framework, set of APIs used to validate the web application across different browser and platform. Perfect. So now coming back to Eclipse. Now, when it comes to creating project, now you can create two type of project. One is basic Java project, okay, where you have to download the library, which is our Selenium jars. Then you have to configure it manually. So if you need any other library, you will download again and configure it. Tomorrow, if you have to upgrade or downgrade, you will follow the same process. Another way is using Maven project. Okay, so in industry, in real time, we use Maven project, or there's one more type of project called Gradle project. So you don't have to go with Java project initially. For get started, people go through Java project. Later on, they understand what is Maven and Maven project. But from day one, we will follow Maven project, which is the industry standard, and we will not face any issue that you will face when you go with normal Java project. So good news with Eclipse is, if you're using Neo or any other version, so I will not even say Neo, Mars or Oxygen, any other version, like latest versions, Maven comes by default. You don't need to download or configure Maven separately for Eclipse. So we are using the latest version, so we will get these options. So let's create our new project. I will click on File and I will click on New, and you will see I have multiple options. One is standard Java project, where we have to configure it manually. I will start with direct Maven project. So you can see I have 4 categories, like general category, which is just like a normal project, which we don't need. Then we have Gradle, as I told, right? So for Java, we have 2 build tools. One is Gradle, one is Maven. We will go with Maven. You can see Java, if you want to create a standard Java project. Okay, so if you will see one more option called and. So back in 2015, still few companies have not migrated, but we also had one more build tool called Apache Ant. Okay, but now companies have moved to Maven, so we have Maven and Gradle. Let's click on the Maven project and click on next. Now if you see, we can continue, it will ask you which kind of group ID, artifact ID you want. So you can see we have a quick start guide. So sometimes people get confused, like which group ID to select, which artifact ID to select, right? So I will make your task easy. Click on create a simple project, that's all. And click on next. Now it will ask you, give me group ID, give me artifact ID. So I will say Selenium Community Session. This is my project name. I will keep, as of now, group ID, artifact ID same. So just copy paste the same group ID, artifact ID and click on finish. Okay, on the left hand side, now you can see it's creating a Maven project. It takes a couple of seconds because it configures your project. So it takes few seconds for us, and yes, we have a Maven project ready. Let me see a couple of chats. So Mukesh, I got confused around terminologies like framework, API, interface, library. Could you please explain again? So Lokesh, did you join the session little late? Because uh, I guess you joined in the middle because every component have the different terminology. Okay, Selenium is like Selenium has three components. So WebDriver is different, ID is different, and grid is different. Now, the moment you see this Maven project, you will see 4 folder structure. One is SRC main Java, SRC main resources, SRC test Java, SRC test resources. Now, which one to use? As of now, stick to SRC test Java, which is required. Later on, once we move ahead, we will be we'll talk about what to keep in the resources, what to keep in SRC main Java. But as of now, SRC test Java, where we will be writing our test cases. So right click and let's create a new package. So package is nothing like a folder in Windows or Mac. So we are going to create a package. All these related files will keep in this package. Okay. Now again, we have to follow some convention. If you just use capital words for packages, it will give you this warning. So what you need to do for packages, stick to the lowercase, and I will say this is day 1. Let's say day 4. Actually, it's day 4, but I will keep day 1 Selenium and click on finish. And let's create a new class. Now in everything, like in Java, everything will start from a class. So in order to get started, we need a class. So I will say this class is start Chrome. Now you can write your scripts using JUnit, you can write using testng, but since we are starting from the scratch, this is the first session, I will continue with public static void main. Okay. Later on, once you move ahead, we will be using testng. But as of now, I will be using public static void main and I will click on finish. It will take a couple of seconds and your project will be like your class will be ready. Now I will be increasing the font size. Now, if I talk about the Java, okay, so Java has some predefined classes, right? So if I talk about, let's say system is a predefined class, right? So I will get this as an auto suggestion. Come on, just a second, guys. Yeah. Can you see? See, in Windows or in Mac, we have a control space which will give you auto suggestions. Like what are the classes is matching with this keyword that you mentioned. So you can see I got 2 interfaces and couple of classes with system. So system color, system tray. These are predefined classes and interfaces coming from Java. But we need to configure now Selenium WebDriver, right? Which will be coming in a form of jar file. So if you just download the jar file, you will get a lot of packages. You can start using these classes and you can start automating your browsers. Now we're using Maven project. So in Maven project, everything comes as a dependency. Dependency also, it will download the jars. So at the end of the day, you will be getting the jars. Then you will be getting a couple of packages, classes, methods. This is what we will use. So if I talk about WebDriver, see, I don't have anything called WebDriver. No suggestions. Why? Because we don't have any WebDriver as such, because we have not configured. So in order to configure, just go to download. You will see you can directly go to this grid part. Just a second. Still loading. Yeah. So instead of downloading all the jars, even if you download one jar, right, Selenium 4.2.2, this is the latest version we have. You will be able to configure it properly. If you don't want to go in this way, we have the direct link for jars as well. Like it will download the zip file that will have multiple jars. Now, since we're using Maven project, You can see, right, Maven information, that if you're using Maven or Gradle, you will find more information on MVN repository. So click here. And you can see now we got a couple of dependencies, right? Like which dependency you want to use. Now, here also people get confused because sometimes people use API, Selenium support, remote driver, and Chrome driver. But if you just use the first one, which is Selenium Java, click on it. Can you see? I have multiple versions which I can use. So if you see 4.2.2, it released in June. It's the latest one. Still, we are in June, and this is the recent version. 4.2.1, 4.2.0, and so on. So it depends on which version you use. You will see a couple of changes in each version. They have also provided the change log, which means they will tell you what changes they are doing in 4.2.2, 4.2.1, and so on. I would recommend go latest -1. So we can try with 4.2.1. In case if we face an issue, we will upgrade or downgrade. But even if you're using 4.0.0, they don't have much changes. There are a couple of bug fixes and some enhancement. If you see the number of usage, max usage is for 4.1.1. Let's click on it. And you can see we have dependencies, right? So I will copy this dependency, go back to Maven project, click on pom.xml file. And click on pom.xml. So again, this pom.xml have multiple views. So if you just see, this is the overview section. Okay, that what is the parent, properties, modules. So you don't have to go to the overview section. Just come to the raw pom.xml file. Here, you cannot paste the dependencies directly. First, you have to use a tag called dependencies. So as the name says, one dependencies, which is a parent tag, right? You can have multiple dependencies. So just press less than symbol and you can see list of suggestions, right? So just come down to this dependencies. And if you see the description, it clearly says this element describe that all of your dependencies which will be associated with your project. Yes. So just double click on it. It is available and you can paste here. This is just a comment part, so I will remove it. So if you notice, dependencies is also getting closed here. So this is one / you have to use. Now within these dependencies, you can have multiple dependencies one by one. As of now, we have one dependency. Slowly, once we move ahead, you will see we'll use TestNG as a dependency. Apache PY is a dependency. I'm not sure whether in this community session we'll be able to cover all of not, but we'll go with Selenium as of now. Okay, you can see this progress section, right? It's downloading all these jars for me. So let's wait. Once it will download, we'll continue. In the meanwhile, let me read a couple of chats. So Mahesh, did you get your reply regarding migration from 3 to 4? Okay, so Mahesh has replied, I downgraded Selenium version, which was not supported to browser stack version. That's why it was not picking up the browser stack property files. So see, when you said degradation, right, you have degraded. So there are two ways. One, you are degrading the version, which is fine, like 4.2.2 to 4.2.1, 4.2.1 to 4.1.1. But when you're migrating like versions like 4 to 3, 3 to 2, they will see some changes. So the couple of issues, since it's all open source, right? Selenium is an open source, Eclipse is open source, TestNG open source. So you have to see the compatibility also, like which version is compatible with what. Okay, now you can see everything downloaded. Now the moment you click on Maven dependencies, can you see the list of dependencies that we got? This is the main part, Selenium Java. Apart from this, we also get a couple of other dependencies which is required. You see, list is huge. So you don't have to open this. Just come here, start your Chrome driver. And you can see, right, I was using some web driver, so it has got imported. So I don't want this as of now. Now, if I type web and control space, can you see few additional classes and interfaces? And now you can see the moment I type web and press control space, I got a couple of classes, I got a couple of interfaces, which is coming from Selenium jar, okay, which is coming from Selenium dependency. So if you see the packages, this WebDriver exception is coming from org.openq.selenium. WebDriver is coming from org.openq.selenium. WebDriver wait is coming from org.openq.selenium.support.java. We'll talk about them as well. But today we'll start with WebDriver. Now, in order to start, you need to understand few classes, okay? So in order to make things a little easier, what I will do, I will create object of each browser class. Now, what does it mean? So in Selenium WebDriver, for each browser, there's a separate class available. For Chrome, we have a separate class called Chrome driver class. I will show you all these classes now within a minute. For Firefox browser, we have something called Firefox driver class. For Edge browser, we have Edge driver. For Safari browser, we have Safari driver. Okay, in the same way, I guess for Opera also we have Opera driver. Let me see and we'll confirm. So it means for each browser, we have a dedicated class available, which we are going to use. So today I will be using one expression. Tomorrow I will change this expression and I will tell you why. But things will be little easier today if I directly go with these classes. Now, since we have to start with Chrome driver, so basically what my objective is, I will open the Chrome browser, I will open the application, I will capture some details and I will close the browser. This is just to get started that everything is working fine. Once this part is done, then we can interact with web element, we can do some click type activities, we can assert certain conditions. So this is how we create objects in Java, that you have to give the class name, give a space, object name equal to new. New is a keyword to create arrays and objects. And again, class name, pair of parentheses and semicolon. So I will use Chrome driver. See, driver is just an object name. I can write Mukesh, I can write ABC, I can write XYZ. But let's keep this little meaningful so that you can relate what exactly this driver is. And I will create one object of Chrome driver class. But now Eclipse is not able to understand that what is Chrome driver. Is it a class? Is it an interface? From which package it is coming? So if you put mouse over, it will ask you that, hey Mukesh, please import this class from this particular package. Can you see? Import Chrome driver, which will come from org.openq.selenium.com. This is the package and this is the class. So the moment you click on it, okay, let me remove the first import, not required as of now. So this is the package we have, and this is the class we have. And if you just put mouse over on this class, right now you're not able to see the documentation. I will show you how to see the documentation. But if you want to see from where it is coming, okay, this is a package and this is a class. So all these packages are coming from Maven dependencies. Now, if I run this code, will it work? If not, will it give any exception? If yes, then what exception it will give? Please let me know. I want to listen from you guys, those who have started, because we are missing one important part. So will it work or not? Ramesh Babu says, how to reach the blog? Ramesh, I did not get your question. What do you mean by how to reach the blog? You mean how to, like, what is the URL? Now, Gangula Ramesh says, how much Java program needed Selenium for Selenium? Big core basics or core Java? Alicia says, Mukesh, can you please take session on the pom.xml capabilities, plugins, properties, etc. So Alicia, yes, I can take, but community sessions, we don't have much session planned. But if you want, I can quickly make a video on what is profiles in Maven, how to create, how to use plugins, how to create your own plugins, dependencies, properties. So from automation perspective, you don't have to learn much about Maven. 5 to 6 concepts are enough. Rakesh says this is only Selenium related dependency. So yes, Rakesh, as of now, we have only added Selenium related dependency, which is Selenium WebDriver. Later on, depends on what kind of library you want to use. Obviously, you will be adding dependency. Okay, consider this like you want to have some drinks today. So today you will take only cold drinks, right? But tomorrow you are hungry, you want to take some food. So based on the requirement, you will buy the items, right? Same thing goes with automation. You don't need to use all the dependencies at one go. Whenever you need anything, use the dependency. If you need Java Faker library, use the dependency. I will show you one more dependency now within a minute. If you need TestNG, Apache POI, you need JSON, XML schemas, everything is available in a form of dependency. Okay, so yes, everybody's correct that we need to download the driver and we need to set the path. So there are two ways to do this. One is manual way, where you will download the Chrome driver, then you will need to give the path and you need to set one property called webdriver.chrome.driver. Other way is using one more dependency, which is WebDriver Manager, which automatically does this task for you. The moment you use the dependency, it will download that dependencies. Then it will give you specific classes, WebDriver Manager.chrome.driver. It will download plus it will set the property automatically. So I will show you both the ways, but the second way is recommended. The moment I right click and run as Java application, if you see the error, you will get to know. My machine, it might work because I have set up one Chrome driver explicitly. Okay, so you can see without any driver, it is starting the session, right? But if I just go back, it failed. And I will tell you why. You might see a different one. Right now it says Selenium, session not created exception, could not start a session, response code 500, session not created. And if you see this further, what people do, they generally see this message and they get confused, they get scared what exactly it is, and they don't read the full part. So if you see, it clearly says the version of Chrome driver only supports Chrome 87. Okay, now let me talk about what exactly it is. See, now for each browser, we need a driver. Chrome driver, like Chrome browser is maintained by Google, right? So we have a Chrome driver for this. Edge is maintained by Microsoft. So we have an Edge driver. Firefox is maintained by Mozilla, right? So we have a Gecko driver. So for each browser, we have a different driver. Now we also have a driver compatibility. So if I'm using Chrome 100, I need the compatible version of Chrome driver 100. If I'm using Chrome 90, I need the compatible version for this. So right now, which is already pre-configured in my Mac, it is configured, but it is taking for the previous versions. In your case, you will not get this exception, you will get a different exception. So what I will do, let me delete that file. Okay, one file from where it is coming basically. Just give me a second. USR local pin. Can you see? I already have one Chrome driver at this location, which is picking up automatically. This is only for Mac, okay? For Windows, we have to set in environment variables. Let me delete this. Yes, delete it. Let me delete from here as well. And let me run this code again. Okay, let's save the resource before running. Yes. Can you see? This is the exact exception that you will be getting, called illegal state exception. And what it is asking, it says the path of the driver executable must be set by this particular property, which is webdriver.chrome.driver. And good thing here is they will also give you a link from where you can download the driver and set this property. So this is the link they have given. So you don't have to go through this link. I will show you how to download. But this is a manual way. We have one more way to do this using WebDriver Manager. So if I come back to Eclipse, so we come back to the code part. Now for each browser, there's a predefined property that you need to see. For Chrome, it's webdriver.chrome.driver. For Firefox, it is webdriver.gecko.driver. For Edge, it is webdriver.edge.driver, and so on. So I will quickly change it. And edge.driver. So even if you make a small spelling mistake, if you just say C capital or D capital, it will again throw you same exception. So make sure you give the exact key which is coming on this whole console, and these are the standard key. So key and value. Value is your driver that you will download and configure. Okay, so let me quickly show you at least the first way. Second way we can see tomorrow. Today I just want to make sure that everything is proper set up properly, so that you can start from tomorrow. You can start automating some basic web applications. Now there's a class in Java called system, and we have a method called this is a static method. Basically, that's the reason we are able to call system dot. Okay, so whenever you're able to call any method using a class name, it's a static class. Sorry, static methods. So there's a method called set property, which says key, which I will paste as it is, and there is also a value. Now this value is nothing but a driver, Chrome driver that you need to use. Now how to download this driver? Let me show you. Come back to download section again. And come back. Yeah, can you see platform supported by Selenium? So if you click on the browser, these are the drivers we have. So we have Firefox driver, IE driver. Obviously, IE is deprecated, no longer supported. Safari, Opera, Chrome, Edge. We'll go with the Chrome as of now. Yes. Now, if you see right now, obviously, if you're interested about this documentation, you will see a lot of things that if you want to see the mobile emulation, different Chrome options we have, you can explore the document. As of now, for today's session, there are two options available for us. One is the beta release. So we have a beta browser as well, right? So right now at this moment, 102 is stable, 103 is still in beta. So in order to use 102, I need driver 102. If I'm using beta 103, I need beta 103 driver. See, this is the mapping you have to remember at least now. But when you go with WebDriver Manager, this thing's taken care automatically. So in order to understand this part, let's understand the pain point that we have right now. So I will go with the latest stable release. The moment you click on it, I can see some spammers. Guys, can you please report? I can see some bad chat in the chat section. Can you guys quickly report? Now again, you can see the list of Chrome drivers that we have, right? So we have Chrome driver for Linux, Chrome driver for Mac, for Windows 30D, and we have a dedicated driver for M1 chip. So I'm not using M1 chip. I have the normal MacBook Air. I will go with Mac 64. Now it will download the zip file. I just need to unzip this and I will get one shell. Okay, it is in my download folder. So just quickly let me stop sharing my screen because I don't want to show the complete download folder. Just a second. Where exactly I can keep here. So this is the folder where I have kept my zip file. Now let me unzip this. Can you see? I got one executable file. Now, guys, I'm using Mac, so I will not be using any extension. But if you're using Windows, it will be .exe file. So you have to give the .exe in Windows. But for Mac, there's no extension needed. So I will right click on this and I will click on Get Info. This is the folder that I have. Okay, this folder have some spaces that might create issue. So let me rename this folder. But let's try without renaming. Let's see whether it works or not. Okay, so this is my under desktop, the folder name called untitled folder 2. I need to rename it. And the file name is basically Chrome driver. That's all. Now let me run this. If it is throwing error, it could be because of I have a space in the untitled folder 2. So we'll remove that as well. So you can see now it's running. Okay, yes, perfect. It started Chrome driver and you can see it is launching the same version, Chrome driver 102. And this is the instance that we got. So every time when you run your automated test, it creates a new profile for you. It's basically a blank session without any configuration, without extension, without cookies, or without browser history at all. It's a clean session. And you can verify it says Chrome is being controlled by automated test software because we are handling using Selenium. And you can see there's no browser history and all. So if I just want to continue, I can use it. Okay. Now I can play with this browser. Okay. So basically I can open URL, refresh the browser, go back, forward. I can close the browser, capture the title, capture the URL. So up to the browser level, I can handle this. But in order to reach to the particular web element, I need to find that element. I need to perform. I will return, get some web elements, then I will perform some operation. But let me just use one of the method called get method, which is going to load a particular application. Okay. So here, let me open my blog called learn-automation.com. And I just want to capture the title. So title is like what title comes on the tab, right? So if I show you this, so you can see this is the title, right? And if I use my blog, which is learn-automation.com, you can see this title, right? Automation-Selenium WebDriver tutorial step by step. This is called title. So if I want this title, it will return me in a string format. The title will be in a string. So I can store into variable, then I can print. Right now, I will just use sysout, which is system.out.println, and I will say driver dot. Can you see list of methods? I will use one of the method today because we are running out of time. Just one method today called get title. So get is also a method which will open the web application. Get title is another method. And I will be using one more method called quit. So guys, we have two methods basically in order to close the browser. One is quit, one is close. So at this moment, we just have one browser instance. Whether you use close or quit doesn't matter. Both will work in the same manner. But once you move ahead, you will see there's a different behavior of quit. There's a different behavior of close. And that's a interview question as well. And tomorrow I will be making one more variation on this and you will be able to see. But I want to make one small change in the code. And this is a very common mistake people do. Now tell me, will this program work? Will this code work? Will we get an exception? If yes, then which exception? Okay, thank you so much for reporting, guys. Debashi says which version? So Debashi, my current version is the latest, which is 102. See, that's the problem with this like manual part. You download and add the dependency. But once you use this WebDriver manager, we don't have to worry about this. Let me see a couple of answers. Okay, Devashi says Windows 64 version Chrome driver is not there. So Devashi's good part here is for Windows, they just have one which works for 32 and 64. So download the 64 one, it works for both. So download the any version. So whether it's 32 or 64, it works for both. So Sumita says proxy, okay, not exactly proxy, but yes, it will throw error, okay. At the moment I run this, you will see the browser will start because this is correct, right? But we will be getting some exception at this particular statement. Subhash is correct. So welcome, Subhash. Good to see you in the live again. So we will be getting invalid argument exception, okay? So you can see browser is up and running, but the moment I go back and see the console, it says invalid argument exception. Now, what does it mean? See, Selenium only works with the browsers, right? So you can only automate the web browsers. So here the only protocol supports HTTP or HTTPS. So you have to mention the protocol. If you don't mention, it will throw invalid argument exception. Now let me just run this program once again. And this time you will see browser will open, it will open the application or the URL that we have mentioned, get the title, and then it will close. Okay, you can see it's not maximizing because for maximizing the browser, we need to use a separate method altogether. But yes, you can see it's URL is loading. Yes, done. And now you can see it also captured the title. So it means we are able to interact with the browser. We are able to interact. We are able to load the application, capture some details, and we're closing it. So at least try to do it till this part. From tomorrow's session, we'll see how to interact with the web element. Plus, we will also see how to deal with the different browsers, WebDriver Manager APIs, locators, and so on. So the task for you today will be at least whatever we have done so far. I have done in Mac. So if you have a Mac, please do in the Mac. Otherwise, try in Windows. Try to create Maven project, add dependency, download the driver, and see the basic application you're able to open or not. Yeah. So today, yeah, that's all from today from my side. And if you have any question, we will discuss tomorrow. Yeah, so let me stop sharing. But yeah, before we stop sharing, any doubt in today's session? Okay, I can see a few people have replied correctly. Maybe the URL is missing. So HTTP was missing, yes. not assigned to web element. Priya, there's no involvement of web element as of now because we're not even finding a web element. So web element will start from tomorrow. So Ramesh Babu, you are of the blog, so we don't have any specific URL, Ramesh. So what you can do, you can check out my blog, which is learn-innovation.com. You can check out my YouTube channels. Plus, you have the liberty to go with number of blogs available. The main intention should be you should be able to learn Selenium, right? Go with the official documentation. That is the best thing, but it does not have many examples. So refer any blog, but you have to follow the process step by step. Okay, that's all from my side. If no other question, then we will close the session today and we'll continue this from tomorrow. Alicia says, good to know that there's an automated way to handle drivers. Yes, Alicia, there's a very effective way to deal with the drivers, because maintenance of driver is also a big pain, because every browser have some browsers have monthly release, few browsers have quarterly releases, right? So you cannot keep on downloading and changing the drivers manually. So there's dedicated dependencies available that we will see tomorrow. Okay, so that's all from my side. If any other question, please let me know, and I will see you all tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.